It's about.
It's game time. What a start for the Golden State Warriors. And he's hurt.
He goes to the locker room, and this is a major story. The Warriors go up 3-2.
So after a very dramatic night last night in Oakland, the Rockets find themselves down 3-2. And I'm just going to tell everyone right now, Hembo is aggravated, okay? So, Seth, go ahead. Mike D'Antoni's teams are 1-3 in playoff series when down 3-2. Who's the only team he came from behind to beat?
I think when he was with the Phoenix Suns, the Los Angeles Lakers, with an assist from Ryan Russillo.
Yes, it's not even an assist. Russillo said
Ryan Russillo, thank you very much.
Hembo is furious because Russillo absolutely gave him the answer.
Wait a second.
No, he said it first, and I said, don't stop thinking about it. You're right.
I think a protest is being lodged here.
Hembo, I'll tell you, two minds are better than even a Hembo.
I'm looking forward to the 2-minute report.
Now, yeah.
Guys, we'll get the 2-minute report a little bit later, and we'll see if this was an actual answer to the question or not. Meanwhile, let's get to the real story from last night. That's Kevin Durant, and that is his calf. And it is a problem. It is a calf strain. I'll say again, that can mean a lot of different things. It can be as mild as a week and can be as significant as 2 months. We'll get an MRI today. In the meantime, the latest from Brian Windhorst.
Greeny, what a potentially historic, pivotal moment this Kevin Durant injury was on this court. It's really opened up opportunity for both of these teams. For the Warriors, opportunity to remind everybody, including themselves, that they were champions before Kevin Durant got here. They called on those memories and experiences to rise up and win this game. And then, of course, the Houston Rockets. They have sat around for a year with regret about the Chris Paul injury that they genuinely believe cost them a title. Now we have an incredible turn in basketball karma, and they are the team that has the chance to rise up from down 3-2 and take advantage of an injury to the other side. This is going to be a fascinating end to this series. Don't expect to see Kevin Durant, at least on Friday, and maybe if it goes 7 games to Sunday. Amazing potential for this series.
That's well done, Wendy. Thank you very much for that. Meanwhile, we run the floor here. And so, Ryan, I'll turn to you. Warriors lose Durant. They win Game 5. How does this thing play out now if he doesn't come back?
I still think Golden State, with 2 chances to win this thing, can do it. And I'm going to pick them not in Game 6 Houston. It's going to change Houston's defensive strategy. Now they know what they're actually going to be facing. But I love what I saw from Curry after a bad game in the 4th.
Meanwhile, Seth Greenberg, I need to ask a coach. James Harden takes 1 shot in the final 8 minutes of the game. How does that happen?
I think Golden State Warriors. I thought Steve Kerr did a great job of blitzing him on all these ball screens, running a second defender on him every time he got in the lane. And in a little ways, he kind of deferred to Chris Paul. And you know what? You can't defer to this version of Chris Paul. But I thought Kerr did a great job of taking the ball out of his hands, running the second guy at him.
If this was a game that ended the Rockets season, boy, we'd be talking a lot about James Harden. But he gets another crack at it tomorrow. Meanwhile, the Lakers' search for a new head coach continues. We just talked to Woj. Ty Lue out. Ryan Russillo, who do you think the next coach of the Lakers is going to be?
Jason Kidd's been angling for this thing for a while. I mean, he's been out in L.A. I mean, I thought he was going to ask if he could stay in my house. But I mean, at this point, this is so weird because the guy had a birthday cake with the Lakers.
Go hire Rick Pitino. Just go hire Rick Pitino. He can deal with LeBron.
Rick Pitino is
your guy, Rick Pitino. I'm saying
you're
go
a new
hire
friend.
I do like Rick Pitino. That would be
a disaster.
That would be outside the box.
That would be a great drama. That would make LA even better.
You could have
this show go back to 3 hours.
You could have a really big box that would still be outside of that. Anyway, speaking of elimination, the Celtics were eliminated by the Bucks last night in Milwaukee. After winning Game 1 by 22 points, the Celtics got obliterated. They lost 4 in a row by a combined 65 points, and the big question there, of course, is have we seen the last of Kyrie Irving in a Celtics uniform? There's so much to unpack, and for that, let us bring in the future Hall of Famer Ray Allen, who won a championship in Boston in 2008, who was a member of the Milwaukee Bucks the last time they made the conference final, which is all the way back in 2001. And Ray jumps in on the phone here. Ray, thank you for doing this. So let's start with this. As you just sort of saw the way this Celtics season comes to an end and the obvious issues they have in chemistry with Kyrie, does it feel to you like that is something that can be repaired, or does it feel like a divorce is necessary?
Well, first of all, it reminds me going back to 2010 when we made it all the way to the finals. We were the number 4 seed. And the question that we had for ourselves was, were we afraid of anybody in the Eastern Conference? The answer was no. So I seen this team in that same light. But what I didn't see was the spirit and Kyrie was the leader of that. He was the guy that was supposed to bring everybody together. He said something after Game 4. He said, "I only took 22 shots. I should have taken 30 shots." And to me, when you're behind like that, the answer is not to shoot more shots. It's about bringing the team together, circling your wagons, and trying to figure out how defensively we stop this team, because we know they needed to play. They played great, not bad defense, but they needed to make sure they came together as a team, and their spirit was bad. And everything they've shown all year kind of reared its head here in these playoffs.
Totally agree. And they splintered at a time. You worried they might fracture if things went badly, and they most certainly did. I would like to get a quick thought from you on the other side. Here is Milwaukee again, back in the conference final for the first time in 18 years. They have been left for dead in the NBA in so many ways for a generation and a half. You were there last time. Tell us what you think this means to that city, that town, and to the NBA.
Well, I'm happy for Milwaukee. Still have a lot of great friends there in the city, and those fans have been, definitely desiring a winner there. Obviously, we went to the Eastern Conference Final against Philadelphia in 2001. So, they have a great young talent in Giannis. They have a lot of young players around them. And you see their spirit is somewhat similar to what Boston had last year. Everybody doing it for the next man, everybody sharing the game, the ball being moved around. One interesting concept about Giannis is, as much as he's playing with his, facing the basket, he's a big guy, basically, because if you think about all the points he scores in the paint, this guy is devastating when he gets inside the paint, because once he gets open inside the paint, everybody else on the perimeter is wide open.
And then finally, Ray, I assume you've been hearing a little bit of the conversation here about what's going on with the Warriors and the Rockets. The drama is overwhelming. But take me to a team when they lose their best player. The Warriors have a lot of stars, as you did in Boston when you guys were all together. But Durant has been their best player this year and probably for several years before. What happens to a team when you lose your best player in a playoff series?
Well, typically it's not good for that team. But you look the way the Warriors are built, with Steph, with Draymond, and with Clay. They have a lot of great players on that team. So I think, short term, we're talking about another month till the final. Short term, they certainly could pick up the pieces and win. Now, obviously, they won without Durant, but they built the team now around what he's been able to do and having a great, somewhat MVP caliber year. But what it's going to take now is there's been questions about how Clay's been playing. He played better last night. Steph stepped up when Durant was down, but those two players are going to have to carry this team in Game 6 in Houston, and certainly they have 2 games to win one. So I believe they can do it, but they got to play their best basketball right here going forward.
Hey, Ray, great to hear from you. Thank you so much for doing this. Sorry we had a little technical difficulty there, but we'll talk to you again soon. Be well. We'll talk to you as soon as we can. Thanks a million. That's Ray Allen with us here on Get Up. And our coverage of the conference semifinals rolls on tonight. You will see 2 critical Game 6s on ESPN, ESPN Deportes, and the ESPN app. We got Raptors, Sixers, Philly trying to stay alive, 8 Eastern. Then the Nuggets and Trailblazers, Portland trying to extend that series. NBA Countdown gets it all started tonight, 7 Eastern on ESPN. All right, coming up. With the Lakers a mess right now, would they consider the unimaginable? Is it possible that LeBron James gets traded? That conversation and more. Get Up on ESPN.